We'll call council back to order. Madam Secretary, please take roll.
Good afternoon, Tribal Council Executives, General Public. Bryce in the Woods. Ted Knife Jr. on travel. John Kessler.
Here.
Kendrick Dupree excused. Sharon Lee. Here. Kelsey Haskell. Here. Thad Rose.
Here.
Derek Bartlett. Here. Joe Brinks Plenty. Bob Walters. Ron Russo. Tuffy Thompson. Thank you.
Council, hope you got a good lunch, and there's Lexi's passing out some papers, and also you should have got one earlier. It's from the Dupree's Consulting Group, LLC. That's Sean Johns. He's proposing, and we've discussed this with him previously, to do a feasibility study for the casino at Fort Pierre. If they're going to get investors and assistance and funding to help out with this project, the possible investor would want to see the feasibility study done. So any action on this proposal? Ms. Lee, go ahead.
Chairman LeBeau, thank you for the floor. This needs to go through CREDCO, and Sean hasn't brought it to CREDCO or contacted myself or JD, or we've never seen it till now. So we're going to have a meeting. We tried to have one last night, but something was going on with the Zoom, so we didn't have it. But JD's setting up another meeting so we can address that, and also Vern Robertson's proposal. So we did approve one for Vern to start with through CREDCO, and this other one needs to go through there as well. So I'll make a motion to refer both Sean Johns and Vernon Robertson's proposals to CREDCO.
Second.
Do you want to include budget in that?
Yes.
Okay. Motion to refer to Budget Committee and also to CREDCO Board. Motion by Ms. Lee, second by Mr. Rousseau. And we've contacted JD and Vern on this. And I believe with gaming, it does have to kind of have to be a little bit of separation there from the actual operations of the casino. That's why I brought it here to council, to maintain that separation. So yeah, good motion though. All in favor, raise your hand. 10 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Council, also in front of you is the Attorney General proposal from Mr. Mark Roy, who has previously been employed by the tribe. And actually he won the runoff between him and a tribal member attorney. And then thereafter, with the politics, the tribal member attorney was chosen, although Mr. Roy did win that runoff. So the letter says, "Dear Chairman LeBeau, it was a pleasure to visit with you and members of the current Cheyenne River Sioux tribe management team last week about the tribe's continuing need for Attorney General. I too recall the good working relationship we enjoyed when I previously served in the AG's position, and am glad to hear of ongoing infrastructure progress and improvements being considered by the tribe. As promised, this correspondence is to confirm both my sincere interest in, again, serving as the tribal AG, and to set forth certain considerations that attend that interest. A proposed contract following the format I have used in the past several years and incorporating certain terms and conditions that I have found useful in guiding my legal engagement is appended for your consideration. I understand the civil and criminal legal duties required of the AG. I realize that emergencies do occur, particularly in the area of criminal law enforcement, and I continue my practice to this day and in my current role of being available 24/7 for such instances. I concur that flexibility is a key for all parties as we determine possible routes forward for me to assist the tribe in its meeting its crucial legal needs. In a return to South Dakota is not unwelcome to both me and my wife, Diane, who is, as you are aware, a former assistant CRST attorney general. We have friends and contacts both within and on and off the reservation, although we now have a permanent family home in Kentucky, which is under long-term historical restoration. We maintain a home in Pierre for 5 years, and Diane maintains a very active representation of statewide charitable organization based in Pierre. My position as chief judge of the Hopi tribe affords me outstanding IHS housing on the reservation here, but my understanding is that the area is obtained, that would be positive news and would reflect the results we worked on before I left. However, a return to Pierre remains a very workable solution for my family to the housing issues which exist in Eagle Butte. Your enthusiasm for enhancing the multiple goals of providing expanded service, business opportunities, and safe environment for all who work, live, and visit in the area of CRST reservation is certainly known to me, and I would welcome a role in assisting your administration and the CRST Council in meeting those challenges. As you know, my current employment agreement requires a minimum of 60 days notice of any decision by me with respect to other employment. I intend to fully honor that agreement and have proposed a similar requirement in the attached proposed contract with CRST. I must emphasize that I am quite pleased with my present employment arrangement and fine colleagues. However, CRST remains to me an unusual opportunity by a new administration, which includes people I have known for years, to support a community and area which is undergoing broad changes and is now attempting to directly make those changes occur in the most positive manner. Please review the attached information, which includes an updated resume for me in your reference. And I look forward to hearing your further thoughts at this convenience. With kind regards, signed, Mark S. Roy, JD, LLM.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to abolish that Attorney General position and to refer to Law and Order to find a way that we can put our chief judge in that capacity. Because to me, this Law and Order on this reservation has kind of went to crap since we initiated the Attorney General position. The Attorney General position does nothing but diminish the authority of this tribal council body by allowing a non-Indian in this instance and even a non-elected official to bridge nation-to-nation communication between state sovereigns, federal sovereigns, and the tribe in disregard to the tribal council body, which is the ultimate authority of this reservation and this Indian tribe. So that'd be the motion I'd like to make. And then I think that, once we recognize that fault that we've had in the reliance of Attorney General, which is foreign to a tribal government, especially our tribal government, we'll realize that our chief judge, she's the one that, we need to empower that position so that they can effectively maintain law and order on the reservation, along with the chief of police. That'd be the motion I'd like to make, Chairman.
Second.
Yeah, Mr. Russo, we need an attorney of our own. Currently, we're using contract attorneys, and they're work for other people, as we discussed earlier today. And that's situation's not a desirable one, and it's not an easy situation to have to navigate through, because whenever we enter into ICWA issues or land issues or whatever it may be, there's always that possibility that that attorney we're using for whatever issue, they're working for another tribe. So that's not fair to us at all. So we need someone on staff in our own building. So I don't accept your motion. Motion's out of order. I need a motion to refer or approve. Okay, We got a motion to approve by Mr. Underwoods,
Chairman, second for discussion.
second for discussion by Mr. Bartlett. Go ahead.
Asking the motion maker to go into executive. If you can pull your motion, I want to make a motion to go into executive. We could talk about this guy in executive. This guy would turn this around and take you all to court. This is a white man you guys are trying to hire. Me and Ryman know the politics of it, but we also know that our tribal member got that position, Tracy Zephyr. So, Mr. Underwood's out of respect, if we can go into executive, unless we can let the people know out here in the open what type of guy they're going to hire. This is a white man.
You guys want to, maybe we'll just table this until next session. Give you guys a chance to look at the proposal. I figured that might come up with Mr. Bartlett, but perhaps there's room to grow and move on, because we do have to maintain our professionalism, working relationship with all of our attorneys, our staff, our directors. But if I don't hear any more, maybe we'll just table this and then we'll go ahead, Ms. Lee.
Chairman, can we just table this then so we can all read it through and then we can address it at the next time we meet? I'd like to get the floor for the Medicineville Village Board right now.
Yep.
Thank you.
Chairman, I also have some issues too. I know you guys want a break for a board meeting, but if that's going to be practiced, then I got a lot of boards I'm sitting on too. So, and we've been avoiding them because of council week. Last week, we didn't know if we was having council, so we couldn't have a couple of these board meetings or committee meetings. So out of respect, I think we should just continue. We got unfinished business. You know, I have about two or three human services committee, and we got some fair board papers to hand out. We got other committees and board issues, and you know, you're going to allow council to recess because there's a Taquini School Board meeting. So I don't think it's fair to the rest of us. But if that's going to be the normal practice, then we probably ain't going to get quorum during those council weeks, because there's about 5 of us council reps here that need to attend some of these meetings too. So I'm just hoping that council supersedes any committees or any boards, you know, when we have finished our business here to attend to. So yeah, but this Mark Roy, we got to keep him out of here. I'm telling you guys right now, you know, this guy's a racist, and you know, he put a lot of hardship on our kids during that year. He likes to play politics. He's going to cause a division here amongst us. There's already sometimes a division here, but yeah, this guy's bad news. So, but yeah, Chairman, if we can, I got a couple of things that might just take maybe 10 minutes. So we can get some of it out of the way. Thank you.
Any more comments? Mr. Russo, go ahead.
Chairman, just vote on Mr. Roy's contract now, because we do need an attorney. But see, the problem isn't that we didn't hire an attorney general. The problem is that we allowed all of our attorneys to go into contract. So they get out of their obligation as an attorney under our terms, and they renegotiated contracts and all came back to the table getting paid more for half the work. And we just learned that one of our non-Indian attorneys kind of betrayed the tribe, you know, because he was working for the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe and also working for the Rosewood Sioux tribe. And he kind of issued a complaint in state court saying that the tribal council acted outside the authority of its constitution, and then dropped his contract with our tribe so he can work under the contract for the Rosewood tribe instead. You know, so there are some ethical issues that are at play, you know, and this body of government needs to recognize that, because the overall end state of this tribe is that we provide resources for our membership, services and resources. And when we can't even do that, you know, when I got, as District 6 tribal council representative, have a proposition to build 60 homes in District 6, but I can't even get an attorney to help find a developer or a finance company to help make that a reality. Well, now we're doing a disservice to the entire District 6 because we don't have an attorney. So, you know, I do support the need for an attorney, but I don't support the need for, you know, to diminish our tribal council authority. So maybe if we hire Mr. Roy, we can get that ball rolling again, and then at Law and Order Committee, we can continue to work on law and order and rebuild law and order here on the reservation, because I don't think that should be a purpose of an attorney general. I think that needs to stay in the courts in law and order, and with the attorney general and the use that we have for him, to help with the attorney services and maybe some oversight on these attorneys that are acting unethically. I'd like to I could support the hiring of Mr. Roy for that purpose. Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah, Chairman, just to add to that, council, those same councilors that supported this guy, they no longer sit here. Those 4 or 5 strong, they ain't sitting here. So you guys support this guy, then you guys will probably be on your way out next election. Just telling you, this guy's a political influencer, So, and if you guys support Trump, this guy's a Trump supporter, so I don't think I have to say too much more. I mean, there's a lot of things we can go into executive and I can explain it to you, but I'm just saying those 5 that ain't sitting here, 4 or 5, they support this guy 100%, So.
we can talk about more, Mr. Bartlett.
Okay.
We'll table the matter until the next council meeting. And we do need somebody. And all attorneys, they're all bound by the rules and conduct. And that's where similar like a matter earlier regarding a former past attorney. So then we'll go on to this next one. We had the Simply Smiles. I don't know if you guys are ready for this Simply Smiles or not, but we do have guests. So we wanted to if you want to look through the papers for Simply Smiles. They should have a couple of handouts. Also, Mark Van Orman is available to join us whenever we are ready to discuss that matter. But we'd like to give the floor to our guests. The Medicineville Village. I believe they had interest in applying for a loan. Ms. Abergast, you want to come up to the mic? Ms. Abergast, we'll give you the floor at this time to present your proposal that you discussed. But turn your mic on. Just press the button. Then introduce yourself. It might be
Good
the first
afternoon.
time.
My name is Deb Arbogast. I am the nursing home administrator at Medicineville Village. I have been there for 7.5 years. I brought 2 of our oldest employees of the Medicineville Village, Nicole Eagle Chasing. She's a nurse aide, restorative therapy aide, and works in the music memory. Ophelia Dupree is our dietary manager, and I have Everett Hunt, our board chairman. We would like to present today some things that we have been working on at the Medicineville Village. And I'm just going to give a little history on our census. Currently, we are licensed as a 50-bed nursing facility. We currently have a daily census of 28 residents with 2 admissions scheduled in the next week. We do have 30 beds that are used for nursing facility on our 300, 400 wing, but the 100 and 200 wing are not set up for nursing facility. We would need to do quite a bit of renovation there, a audible visible call light system. We'd have to change out equipment. But one of the other things is that we're not able to admit any more residents after the 2 will be full. because I cannot use those other 20 beds on those wings. As far as our financial status, we are very financially secure at the Medicine Village. We have done a huge turnaround since the nursing facility opened by being under the master health contract for a 638 nursing facility. I wanted to just briefly share that our monthly reimbursement from South Dakota Medicaid for each resident average is $19,275. Our total ACH payment for the month of May was $481,000. And we are anticipating a rate increase in July that would take us from that $19,275 to approximately $22,000 per month for each resident. So I feel very secure that Medicine Village will be able to support the renovation, remodel, and additional wings. Currently, we have been working with an architect and engineer that has been involved with the Medicine Village since 2017, when they were asked to come out and do an assessment of the building. That information we do have on hand, but there was I don't believe that there were financials to support that work at that time. We have significant structural damage from years of fire system water, pipe breaks, and substantial site work to alleviate drainage and ponding issues from snow and rain. So we have the need to renovate the remaining 20 beds in our current license for a dementia wing, which there was council action done in 2019, I believe, with a motion to move forward with that. But then we had COVID. So we would take the 100 wing and convert into a dementia wing, most likely getting 20 beds there, which would put us at our 50 to meet our license. Then we are asking for support to increase our nursing home license 20 more beds to have a 70-bed nursing facility. Build 2 new wings to complete the circle. That would be in the back of the Medicine Village. We do have a waiting list of over 44 potential employees, or employees admissions. As far as employee, I was asked this morning, would we be able to support that? And yes, we would. We want to return these elders to the Medicine Village from other nursing homes and hospitals. Our current size of our kitchen and floor plan and design there will not support 50 residents. And we don't even have heat and air conditioning in that current kitchen. So we would look at, basically we would build on to the back, which would help alleviate some of our problems that we've had with snow building up back there, coming in to the building, heavy rain, get the drainage done correctly. We would take the current area that is the kitchen and the dining room. We would make it into an activity room and storage for all departments. And the other request is that we have the blessing of Tribal Council to work with the state South Dakota legislatures to increase telehealth services for physician needs for a federal regulatory language change. I am currently working with South Dakota legislatures on a summer summit for long-term care. With us having the ability to change the federal regulation for telehealth, we could do telehealth admission, history and physical, and seeing our residents on a 30, 60, 90-day visit. My other request is to go back and add 20 beds at South Dakota legislative session in January and February 2024 so we can increase our license to a 70-bed nursing facility. The request for the CRST tribe to secure the loans, as the Medicine Village is not the mortgage holder for the building. The loans will be with American Bank and Pier for phase 1 and USDA.gov for all other phases. The American Bank loan will then be paid off in full when the USDA.gov loan is funded. Medicine Village will be responsible for all of these loan payments for this project. The results will be Medicine Village will be a structurally safe nursing facility. Medicine Village will be a 70-bed nursing facility with a secured dementia unit, 4 end-of-life rooms, and we will meet the needs to return our elders to our nursing facility. I did also give you a copy of the latest professional services agreement, and on the front page, they did talk about the facility site assessment and report, repair work of the courtyard, remodel and relocation of the existing condition, substantial site work to alleviate drainage and ponding issues. We would have 2 new wings. We would convert the existing 100 wing into nursing facility. That will end us with 70 full beds. Dementia wing remodel, and we will also remodel the existing 300 and 400 wings into admin support and staff living quarters. The Medicine Village did not have office space, so my office, the Director of Nursing, Social Services, and MDS Coordinator were using small activity rooms on the wings for offices. So we've converted them back and we've moved our offices to the end of 200 wing. So basically this is where we're at. We need to fix the building. We need to remodel and renovate to get to our 50-bed nursing facility license. We only have 30 beds that we can do that with right now. And we need to add on to the back. With that addition, we would be building a new kitchen, a new dining room, and then we would be able to meet the needs of the elders that are wanting to come back.
Chairman. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming, Medicine Willville. The director and the board members and employees. I guess I want to make a motion to approve and refer to administration the first 2 requests. That's the request to work with South Dakota legislators to increase telehealth services for physician needs for a federal regulatory language change, and the request to add 20 beds at South Dakota legislative session in February 2024 to increase our license to 70 beds. That'd be my motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Russo, second by Mr. Woods. Comments, Mr. Kessler?
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Hunt and the other 2 I know. You know, it's been a pleasure working with Medicine Wheel Village through the beginning stages. It's been such a asset to our community and our tribe and our membership. And it's always so uplifting to go and visit and talk to old friends. And I know it makes their day. It sure makes mine. Even though it's hard to see them struggle through it, but it's nice that it's here and it's local, and it gives us that opportunity to step up and go visit when we can. And so we thank you for that. And I know you guys are working hard over there, and this tribe, as well as myself, will do anything and everything we can to assist you moving forward. I know Miss Evergas knows that, as I've worked with her diligently for many years now from the beginning. So thank you guys for all that you do. I support all the motions that you need. I'd make them, but we'll let our junior colleague step in and get some of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Lee, Mr. Woods?
Thank you, Chairman LeBeau. I was reading through the proposal. I see on here it has something wasn't included in the proposal. I just had the page I noticed on there it was, there were about 4 things that weren't included in the proposal. And one of them was tariff fees. And that, it's listed on here. It says not included in proposal. But when we waive tariff fees, we're waiving tribal sovereignty. So, and there's a standing resolution that we, after I think the Cheyenne River Youth Project building was built, there was a motion after that too, that we never waive tariff fees again because we're waiving our sovereignty. And that, that percentage of tariff fees is what the tariff office uses for their projects and to operate on, their operating expenses. So the tariff fees will have to be a part of that.
The other proposal. Oh,
The proposal.
saying we wait.
I'm sorry, I was just looking at that page now. I'm not seeing what page it was on. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It says the proposed scope of services does not include the following: contingency, 10%, highly recommend because of existing conditions, tariff fee, 4.5%, state excise tax, 2.0%, and environmental tax, 1.0. And I was just stating that tariff fees, we can't waive the tariff fees, so I'm just letting you guys know that now.
Do you want me to go have this be updated, that the tariff fee is in there? The last proposal that they had given us, they did add in, is that my
Yes, because
understanding?
any tariff fees will
Okay.
no longer be waived after that last time we
Okay.
waived them several years back,
Okay,
because we're waiving our sovereignty when we're
Sure.
waiving tariff fees. But I also, Chairman LeBeau, I had a question for the treasurer, for Kevin. I wanted to know what you think about this proposal, because you're the treasurer, and it says that the tribe will be, they'll be responsible for the payments. But I understand the loan is it about 9 million, Deb? Is that the total cost of it? Was it in that area?
the total cost for this will be more based on the last proposals that you had seen, because now we're building the 2 new wings.
Okay. So what will the total cost of it be then?
22 million.
Oh, about 22? Okay.
22 million
22
plus. Yeah,
Plus,
yeah.
okay.
Because we're adding on those 2 new,
Wings.
but
Okay.
we'll be bringing in another 20 beds for nursing facility residents. So we would go from right at a 30, 26 was our status for census in May, and that was 481,000. So when we bring on that many more residents, since we are under the master health contract, we'll generate that much more income.
Okay, and that's why I was asking the treasurer, Mr. Keckler, what he felt about this proposal, because as a treasurer, you know, it would fall on his hands if something didn't happen. So that's what my question was for Mr. Keckler. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a lot of funds. I see the first phase, they're estimating 2.295 million, then 13 million, then 4, and then 2. So I think probably got to go through it and weigh weigh the income versus the expense. But now they do make a pretty good, they're paying what they get from the Medicare and Medicaid. I think says May they received 481,000. So I know they're looking at their bank accounts, they're pretty healthy. So looks like things are working out, and probably be good to kind of go by phase, probably see how this first one goes, and then as they move into phase 2, or see how one's finishing up, and then re-examine the next phase and potentially approve that in phase 3, phase 4, see how it goes. And but it's going really good in terms of what they're generating in revenue. And I think their revenue is based on their expenses, and I think they're doing a re-exam maybe, I think. And so their price per day will go up based on their expenses, but it looks like it's moving in the right direction, and I know our elderly members need to come home instead of be somewhere else, so maybe approve phase one and then let them work through that, and then as it's moving and going good, look at phase two and approve that, and then see how that goes, phase three, phase four. But I think you're gonna do phase one with the bank directly, right? What is it, American Bank and Trust, I think?
We would work with them, yes.
Yeah.
And then once we did that, then we would go to USDA.gov because it would be at a much lower interest rate and a longer period of time for us to do that. One thing that we need to do when the contractors were out there approximately 2 weeks ago and we did a walkthrough, the drainage from the facility is not moving the water correctly, and with heavy rains over the summer and the snow melts and that, it comes back to the building, and we know that we call it the envelope, which is the back of the building. We know that there is structural damage, and after the contractors have been there, we're closing the turtle room and the ceremonial room due to potential mold. So we need to however we do this and however you want us to do this, but we need to secure those contractors because we've already lost one contractor group and we need to move forward. One of the other things that's involved in this is our heating and cooling system and the fire protection system will all be upgraded.
That's in phase
Mr. Underwoods?
Yeah, thanks for the update. And I remember when this was the issue down there in South Dakota, Tom Van Norman was the House representative, and he got the state and tribal committee going. So at that time, Ione Garrow and Alta Leclerc for the tribe were going out checking on our members at all the nursing homes and giving a report. Their testimony down there was pretty instrumental in getting us this waiver that they had. Tom Van Norman, the late Ione Garrow, and Alta Leclerc. So we should, like when you go into the IHS, you'll see Maynard and Red Eagle's picture in there, saying they were instrumental. But these three were very instrumental, and I'd like to see some kind of honor in there for them, for these individuals, even their picture or whatever, you know. They were instrumental in us getting that. And the other thing on this phase is the 22.2 or whatever million. If you get this ball moving now today, and then you're looking at that legislative fix when they come and have their 40 days and their 41st day, you know, we'd really have to help pitch that. Start pitching it now, I think, with we got some legislative allies there. So we need to kind of utilize them and start maybe pushing those issues to the right committees. Legislative committees. So I guess that question would be for you, Deb, on this legislative fix. If we have a percentage that it's going to be a go, but I agree with the USDA loan package because they go like 30 years and, you know, I give them time to pay that back. So I'd like to see a whole package that you have and cover the 22.2 million with all the costs allowable on it, because I think we need to approve of that, approve of all of it. And then the phases that come in, we can start seeing, you know, where we're at, even into next year, where probably next year would be, You know, like Mr. Treasurer said, that 2.2 million should be a goal now, and then the other phases coming in. So I think it's a good opportunity for us again, and I'm glad that we're going to do some repairs on that. We had 2 lawsuits on how not to do things, you know. We lost one of them, but we won the other one regarding Medicine Wheel. That's why there's gigs. There was a lot of change orders, so I'm hoping that we don't deal with change orders. So they got to get that A&E right. And these change orders is what messed that building up over there. So be cognizant of that. And maybe there won't be no gigs that they had when they completed it, you know, that everything will be done right. And we keep monitoring that so everything's done right. Pilamalu.
Thank you, Mr. Underwoods, Mr. Rose, Mr. Russo, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Chairman. I can attest that these renovations are needed for the facility. I've been there at 4 o'clock in the morning when the sprinkler systems froze and broke, and they've had water running everywhere. And they called the fire department, and we went in and started turning valves, trying to make the water quit. And they had been doing that all night, fighting it. And it was our elders in there that were having to deal with it. So I support that. I know the motion on the floor right now is for the first 2 requests. And with the guidance of the treasurer, I think we should amend the motion to include the phase 1, pending the tariff, including the tariff fees to it, and follow that process if that's the correct way to do it. Thank you.
Mr. Russo?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, so I just figured, approve and refer these to administration as first 2, and then the next action needs to be independent. But, I think that we need to commend the leadership team here for recognizing that they have a revenue source, and they're, instead of sitting around and saying, oh, we don't have any money, or oh, we need to go to DC, or the government's not doing this, government's not doing that, and just crying around, they're taking the initiative, is what this is called. They seen something and they know something needs fixed, and they're putting 2 and 2 together, and they're gonna fix it with the loan source. That's a source of funding that they have. I'm sure they could sit around and wait for a TETRA grant and then cry around because the TETRA didn't meet for 2 years and stomp their feet, and and then our elders are suffering at all the while. So but for them to take this initiative, recognize their the opportunity that's before them, that's very commendable. And so the motion that I want to make next would be to approve and refer to the treasurer. We were at a TETRA meeting, and that finance department under the treasurer, they sound like a bunch of bad guys over there. They're making people cross their T's and dot their I's. And I don't know if that's something that's new under the LeBeau administration, the new checklist that TETRA's so mad about, or if it's something that's underneath the new treasurer's administration. But there's this new checklist, things you guys have to do. You're making these programs do it, and they don't like it, the purchase order process. But I appreciate it because it's making sure we got the tariff fees. It's making sure we have the fees that are going out there and helping contribute to the success of our tribe at the small expense of these projects. So it's just a small percentage that they pay, but it runs entire programs and helps the oversight of these programs. So yeah, this simple, something I know Mr. LeBeau and his administration can handle. And then the next one, we have to just approve it and refer it to the treasurer, because they're, tribal treasurer is going to make sure that those fees are in there, and he's going to make sure that it's paid back, and he's going to make sure that it's driving the way it's supposed to. And then as far as the contractors go, Chairman LeBeau, there are some contractors out there that exist because of change orders, and the ethics there too. Same thing. They might have underbid it purposely so they can get the bid, and then now it's just change order after change order. And now they end up being the lowest bidder, but we end up paying them more than the competent bidder to begin with. So I think the procurement policy, we talked about this before, it says lowest competent bidder, doesn't always mean the lowest amount. We have to do our research, do our due diligence, And if that lowest bidder consistently doing change orders, or we can even go look at their last contract, do some groundwork. They were the lowest bidder, but they had 20 change orders, and we end up paying this much for the project when they bid this much, so that's all a little bit of due diligence that our leadership, our supervisor, administration can take, and to ensure that, we're getting not the lowest bidder, but we're getting the lowest competent bidder. So sometimes that's not the lowest price. Sometimes that's someone that's a little more expensive, but we're getting a better quality product out of for our membership. One last thing before we finish and vote on this action, Chairman, is so $20,000 a member per month. That's a lot of money. And one of the things I strive on here for the tribe is that to ensure that these programs that we have are providing a service, the best quality service to our members. And so I question the like Housing Authority, for example. I don't know what they get for funding, but our members pay rent, and that generates a revenue stream for the Housing Authority. And so we have a housing crisis, but I also heard that the Housing Authority employees get a retirement pension. So we got our poor members that are paying rent, their rent that they're paying, and these are members that are paying are members that will never see a retirement pension in their lifetime. And they've dedicated over 30 years, over 20 years of service to the tribe. And they'll never receive a retirement pension, but they're paying their rent to help this group of members enjoy a retirement pension. To me, that doesn't seem right. Instead, our goal should be to provide adequate affordable housing that our members can enjoy, and same with our healthcare. I'd hate to see Medicine Wheel Village getting $1 million pensions in the future, and our members over there eating bologna sandwiches versus over there being treated, and the quality that Medicine Wheel Village provides, the quality service they provide to our members, that it continues to stay good and even improve. So that's the kind of goals I want to see in the future. But I do request this or support this motion, and the next motion needs to be to approve and refer to Treasurer, because I support that effort as well. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Council members first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, colleagues, executives, general public, Medicine Wheel Village. I support all of it. I just have one question. What happens if the South Dakota legislator don't give you the additional 20-bed increase?
I have already talked with South Dakota Department of Health engineer, and we are currently working with legislative. This is our second week. They had a full-day legislative meeting about changing out how you can get these beds, and it's just a formality that we have to go to legislation, and I would need someone from Tribal Health Committee to go with me. We did it before, and Bob Chasing Hawk went with us, and we just we get the legislatures out here involved, and we just go, and they'll give us those 20 beds. So then we're secured at 70. I do want to say that Medicine Wheel Village is 100% of our residents are all Medicaid. We are funded by South Dakota Medicaid, but being under the Master Health contract, we are different than other nursing facilities in the state of South Dakota, and I'm sure you've heard of many of them that are closing. Their average rate of pay is less than $200 a day, but we run by a cost report. So everything that we put in that building is going to come back in our monthly rate, average base rate. So we're projecting that instead of being at where we're sitting at a $19,275, take that by $1,000 daily rate. Our base rate is $654, but it changes based on the level of care for each resident in that facility. But we would probably jump up to almost $1,000 a day for a base rate to care for these. So we will be financially secure. As far as staffing, I want you to know that we do work very hard with all of our employees, to our nurse aides to go on to get their LPN to go on to get, we've got our first LPN going to RN. We have several that are thinking in the fall and spring. We work with Western Dakota Tech with a state scholarship. The state of South Dakota pays 50% of their student loans and we pay the other 50. So we grow our own. So I don't feel uncomfortable with us growing our census and not having the employees.
And then I got one more question. On phase 1B, you're gonna construct two new wings, and them are gonna total 70 beds, those two wings?
Those two wings will give us at least to get us to 70 beds. We already have the motion that council wanted the dementia wing to be constructed. So I'm not quite sure how many beds I'll actually get off the 100 wing for a dementia wing, maybe 16. But then we would know what we need to construct in the back. But it will finish the circle, and that has always been in the plan for the Medicine Village,
Okay.
to have a circle.
Yeah, and then my last question is, on phase 3, it says you're gonna convert admin support and staff living quarters into wings 3 and 400. Well, ain't that gonna take beds away from the elderly?
No, because on the two new additions, we'll move our residents from the 300, 400 wing to the two new additions, where we will also have our end of life, our new kitchen, our new dining. On our 300 wing, we will remodel and renovate that to another nursing facility wing to help us get to the 70 census. But the 400 wing, we would put into offices, and many of us do not live in Eagle View. Many of us live in, out of town. We end up staying at the facility in the winter, and then we would have that space since we do not have access to housing.
Thank you, Chairman. That's all questions I had. I support all of it. I just had some questions on it. Thank you.
Ms. Underwoods? Wana Woglaka.
With this, so my question. providers and also behavioral health has a huge role to play. And there might be some things that in the future we can work out with Indian Health Service that maybe they'll provide more coverage for us too. But we'll have to call upon you guys to really work at that, to change some of that. I think it's in the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act. And I know other tribes are looking at the same thing too regarding long-term care. It's approved, but it's non-funded. So there's just some things that we really need to, in the future, you'll see us come to the table with that. But I really do wish you would amend that and include 300, because that also, these phases are transitioning into each other, and we do need that 300 so that we can get these, and the state kind of will look at us too as well, and being able to cover the amount of residents that we want to bring home. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to do that?
Chairman, so this first action is just for those two requests, the two administrative type requests. Yeah, so the next motion we'll just make a motion to approve of all the phases and refer to the treasurer, and the treasurer will make sure that you guys make sure that we're getting the taro fees, whatever else the treasurer does, having to do with the money and however you guys want to borrow the money and pay it back. Thank you.
So you don't want to amend your motion to include them? You can include that action and you just stated in your motion.
So I'll amend the action. So right now it's a motion to approve and refer the first two requests to administration, and then I'll amend it to add to approve the third request and to refer to the tribal treasurer. Is that how you like it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, motion's been amended. Second still there. Ms. Lee, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman LeBeau. I just wanted to say that I support the Medicine Wheel Village. I always have, and I still do today. But it's, Mr. Russo said that, thanked him for having money and stuff, but before he was on council, the tribe put millions and millions of dollars into that facility because it is owned by the tribe. So that's enabled the Medicine Wheel Village to get to where they are today. Millions were put into, and the tribe made loans in the millions too, to get that building up and repaired and to get it where it needs to be today. So, I'm glad that they're doing well today, because before they were M&M certified Medicare and Medicaid, they couldn't get the reimbursements. So that was a big, huge part of the process. They couldn't get the reimbursements till the facility was up to par, and there's been struggles, and we all know the construction issues. When I first got on council in December of 2004, it was sitting there not quite done and not up and running. So we got it up and running. We worked with that group in St. Paul, Mary Nell Zellner, and those other people in St. Paul. And we got this facility up and running. We kept supporting the facility, knowing that we were putting in millions of dollars, but we were doing it because of our elderly. We wanted our elderly here on Cheyenne River, and we wanted them taken care of in a facility that was good and nice and, met all the standards. So this has been years of the making, and I'm glad that we're at this point today where we can keep moving forward and do more construction and get everything where it needs to be. And we can do the dementia unit, because that is needed too. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brinks-Plenty?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to welcome the board, committee, the crew. Historically, it was actually legislators that kept a lot of the tribes or any organizations that were interested in creating or building a elderly home, because there was a moratorium on it at one point, and I think the history of that. And I think listening to the presentation, and I was here in 2006 to 2010 as the chairman, and I remember a lot of the struggles we've gone through, and it always boiled down to, it's like what Representative Lee said, is is our elders. And I had a lot of close relatives pass on in facilities off the reservation. And I got a chance when the Medicine Wheel Village was up and running, I got a chance to spend time with some of the elders that were passing on that were there and still do. But I just appreciate, and it's exciting to hear the growth of it, and also too with the growing, the organic build in regards to the staff. I mean, that's longevity. That's great to hear, and you're building with with our tribal members around the area. So, I mean, we were told not to, but as a tribe, we did it anyway because it was for our people. And I think that's, it's wonderful. So I just want to express my, gratitude, all the past leadership, up until now, and everybody's still supporting the Medicine Wheel Village, the leadership that you guys and direction that you're taking, it sounds like it's going in the right direction, the way it was intended to. And, I applaud you and, encourage you to keep it up, and I support this project. Thank you.
I told a guy not to look over his shoulder. I'm one of them. That's why I'm saying, let's go for this. No, just kidding, but no. We spent over 100 and some thousand on that building, fixing heating, broken water pipes, and all of that. That building, the pipes are in the ceiling. And you know what South Dakota winters are like. We had a lot of damage. I asked the ladies that work in the kitchen and around there, and Deb and all of them. It was, but hopefully with these phases, we can stop a lot of those problems on it. And the reason we're asking for the 4 phase, we're not going to disrupt our residents. We'll have to put them in other wings so they'll know their home, and then while we're renovating and building on, that they won't be disrupted. That is a lot of our main concern. We don't want to disrupt our residents. Some of them I know see me and they'll wave, and then one of my good friends is on the verge of dementia, a personal friend of my sister's and whatnot, and we're going to build a walkway for the dementia wing so they can be outside. It'll be enclosed so, we can monitor them. And there's just so many things that we want to do that, on it. But I talked to a gentleman this morning, and his grandpa is over in Madison. He wants to bring him home. He's on the list, but we're full. I would, nothing in this world would make my heart feel so much better if we could bring them back. I'll tell you that right now. Good friend of mine out in New Underwood. You all know him, old-time bronc rider. I think you all know him. And he should be here with us, right up there. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies, and for the support you've given us. And I wouldn't be here if I wasn't so sure that we could handle it, and it's a need for our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Mr. Kessler?
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to point out that if any of the membership has an opportunity to thank our state senator Ryan Maher and our state representative Orrin Leismeister, they were instrumental in helping the licensing issues that we go through, and they'll be instrumental with this new licensing that we're looking at too. So if you get an opportunity, you see those gentlemen, please thank them.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. Madam Secretary?
Bryce in the Woods. Ted Knife Jr. absent. John Kessler.
Yes.
Kenrick Dupree absent.
Yes.
Dad Rose.
Yes.
Derek Bartlett. Joe Brings Plenty, Bob Walters, Ron Russo,
Yes.
Tuffy Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, 10 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain, 2 absent, motion carries. Thank you, Medicine Wheel Village. Appreciate the work you do. And we'll be in touch on these loan documents, and definitely a milestone we hit, and looking forward to the future.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, there you go.
Council, we have some of you that need to be excused, and we just had Simply Smiles, and we had some beautiful young ladies that wanted the floor. However, we're gonna probably have to find a date, work with the secretary's office, and find a date later on. But Mr. Bartlett, you had a resolution to present?
Yes. Yeah, Chairman, I'd like to make amendment to the May 25th council regular session. Tribal Council approved of a 5-year extension to the master service agreement with KLJ. The action should have been not 5 years, but 5 months. So I'd like to amend that by a motion. And it's also by